Good morning, good morning, good morning. We're going to get the stream started here in 3 minutes or so. I'm so happy you're here. We've got a great show coming up. Hi, Shelby. Hi, Desiree. Hi, Dark Prince Izor. Don't forget to say hi over in the live chat as soon as you get to the stream so I can say hi back to you. That's the whole reason we do this live, is so that we can chat, we can interact. And if you ever have anything to propose, anything to talk about, something that's going on in your life in the live chat, that's a great place for it. We'll always get around to talking about it here on the show. Hop into the live chat, say hi, tell me what's going on with you. We're going to get the show started in just a few minutes. Hang on. All right, let's do it. It's time for the Morning aMEOWncements. Morning aMEOWncements on the Nightcat with Nightcat YouTube channel. This is the kitsch-minded morning show where we get you ready for the day. I'm so happy you're here. We've got an awesome show coming up, including a landmark case over at the Supreme Court. I know how boring that sounds, but I actually have a vested interest in this, so we're going to talk about it. And then we're also going to hop into the book of useless information because I want to tell you about the animals that could poison you. But before we get into any of that, it's a big day. It's a big day for us here over at Nightcat because tonight is our first ever true crime walking tour. I have been so excited to get these kicked off. I've been working on them for months, researching, giving myself nightmares because, you know, I have had to research a lot about these crimes, and I have had to look at crime scene photos, and I have had to watch shooting videos and stuff like that. It has been a lot of research, and it's been horrible, and I spent pretty much all day yesterday just sort of organizing my information and building the brochure and stuff, and I decided to take a break by watching 3 hours of The Handmaid's Tale. Handmaid's Tale came back yesterday, and he dropped the first 3 episodes on us. So you know, nothing screams, hey, let's take a relaxing break from all the murder, like The Handmaid's Tale, a dystopian future where all they do is murder people. Anyway, I am so excited about this. I know that I'm not the only wacko that loves the really crazy, scary stuff. There is still tickets. There are some tickets still available for tonight. We had a couple people transfer, so there are even more than I had suspected. If you would like to join us on the True Crime Walking Tour tonight, there's still plenty of time. The description of this video has the link tree in it, linktr.ee/JacksonWitt. Click on that. You'll be able to find tickets for the True Crime Walking Tour. Please don't make me get nightmares for no reason. Come hang out with me. It's going to be so much fun. We got glow sticks. I've got something, I got a little speaker that's going to make me louder. It should be illegal to sell me things that are going to make me louder. But here we are. They just did it. They just sold it to me. It's going to be awesome. I cannot wait for this. I have been locked up for basically a year. I haven't been able to see or see anyone or do anything. So we're finally doing it, baby. It's happening. I can't wait for it. So you're on tonight's tour. I will see you tonight. We've also got a tour tomorrow that is sold out, unfortunately. There are more tickets, although there are fewer tickets next Thursday if you are interested for the True Crime Walking Tours. I hope I see you. It's going to be a blast. I can't wait. And I think that means it's time for us to get into the Morning Mews. The Morning Mews is a part of the show where I dig through some of the top headlines, the pop culture headlines, so that you don't feel left behind when you get to work and school. You've got stuff to talk about around the water cooler. And I want to get started with the Supreme Court. Now, I know. So boring, right? Except, here's what's going on. They're currently hearing a case about free speech in schools, and whether or not students have free speech, and whether or not that free speech extends to outside of school. Because basically, here's what's going on. A 14-year-old named Brandy was in high school, and she did not get the promotion from the junior varsity cheer team to the varsity cheer team that she was hoping she would get this year. And so, you know, like any 14-year-old, she was very frustrated about it. She hopped onto social media, and she wrote very eloquently. I mean, she's Hemingway, as far as I'm concerned. F softball, obviously with the real word. F school, F cheer, F everything. Okay. So the thing is, that social media post sparked outrage in this tiny town because, you know, tiny towns have nothing better to do than monitor a 14-year-old's Facebook for updates. So ridiculous. But it caused such a commotion that the school decided that it was bad for cheerleader morale and that they were going to suspend her from sports for the rest of the year. She wasn't able to cheer or do softball or anything. So the ACLU gets involved, and they're like, you have free speech rights. We're going to take this to court. And now it has made its way all the way to the Supreme Court, who now has to decide whether or not those free speech rights extend outside of school. Because back in the 1960s, they've already heard a free speech case at schools. This is at the height of the Vietnam War, and people were really protesting a ton. And they determined that the First Amendment applies to students while they're at school. So they are absolutely allowed to protest the Vietnam War. But that also means they're also allowed to say whatever they want at school, which, if you've been in school, we both know is not the truth. You are not allowed to say anything at school. You give a teacher the wrong look, you're going to end up in detention. So we already don't have the rights that we have, but now we don't even have the rights to say whatever we want when we're in the privacy of our own home. Give me a break. Now, the reason I'm so fired up about this, and I feel so bad about this girl, is because I was once fired from a job for basically the same thing. I was working in retail. Retail is garbage. I hate it. I hated that job. It was the worst. But I went in every day and I had a good attitude about it and I made a ton of sales. I was a good employee, even though it was a garbage job. Well, we got a new manager. And this new manager didn't like gay dudes very much. So he made my job very hard. He was mean to me. He was very, just kind of a puke. And he just started slowly taking hours away from my schedule to the point where one week he scheduled me on a Wednesday before the store opened to come in and clean and fold and then leave. So I wasn't even going to make any commission. Like, I got one day for the entire week. It was 3 hours to come in and do all the grunt work while everyone else gets to come in. So I got onto the Facebook. And all I said was, F my boss. I didn't even say the F word. I just said EFF. F my boss, buddy. Well, the next day I go into work for my 3-hour shift. And my boss pulls me aside. And he goes, hey, so what did you write about me on Facebook? I go, oh, sorry, man. I was just frustrated because I didn't get my hours. I've actually been meaning to talk to you about that. And he says, well, I don't think you support my management style, so I think it's time for us to part ways. And he fired me on the spot for something I said on Facebook. Now, he has every right to do that, just like I have every right to say whatever I want, because that's a private company, and that's a private business, and they're allowed to do whatever they want. The Supreme Court's already decided that. But at school, that's an entirely different thing. You can't ban somebody from school activities and from school for having opinions. Sorry about it. She was 14. She was frustrated that she didn't make the team. And guess what? Whether or not you think your 14-year-old swears, when you're not around, your 14-year-old swears. So her saying the F word should be a complete non-issue. Have you not watched it? Have you not watched Stranger Things? They don't talk the same in front of adults that they do in front of us, or in front of each other. You know what I mean? They don't talk in front of us the way that they do when they're in their little groups. They're allowed to say things. They're allowed to have opinions and feelings. She's basically a gosh dang adult. 14 years old is old enough. Leave that poor girl alone. So anyway, the Supreme Court is going to decide whether or not she had the right to do that. And I'm really very much looking forward to that decision because, I don't know, I think kids are just, I don't think that they are given the benefit of the doubt very often. And that would have been an exceptional time for the school to sit her down and be like, hey, are you frustrated? What's going on? You know, maybe there's a reason she didn't make the team. Is she always late? That would have been a good time to be like, hey, we're really sorry that you're feeling like this. Let's, you know, figure out a solution here. But no, because nobody's invested in solutions. They're invested in crime and punishment. And as long as they can just rule absolutely over any child in their care, those principals are thrilled about it. They're power-hungry monsters. So, I don't know. I think it's a really interesting case. We'll see where it goes. All right. It is spring, which means that bird migrations are happening. Have you ever, like, seen a genuine bird migration where it's just, like, thousands of them and the sky goes dark and stuff? It's the coolest. I love watching the bird migrations. We used to have this crow migration that came through when I worked at the movie theater. I'd be up in the box office and we would just see like mountains of crows flying through, landing for, you know, berries and worms and good times. And then they'd bounce after a week. They would just sit there and they'd storm the parking lot and then they'd leave. It was awesome. Well, not so awesome over in Torrance, California, where a group of birds invaded a home. And when I say invaded, I don't mean they just sort of like showed up and hung out on the grass. These birds accidentally, so here they are swarming, then they accidentally start dipping into that chimney there. So there are like hundreds of birds going down into the chimney. They ended up accidentally capturing 1,500 birds inside this house because the birds got in through the chimney. So they started boxing them up and trying to get them out. This isn't even the first time this has happened. Apparently, just a few miles north of where this house got hit, another place got hit. 800 birds were trapped inside their chimney. Absolutely bonkers. So I guess the goal is just to sort of let them out, but I don't know if you've ever owned a bird or if you've ever been around birds. They poop constantly. They poop non-stop. It is non-stop pooping with... Oh, that's not what I meant to do at all. Man. It is non-stop pooping with birds. They had 1,500 birds flying around their house. I can't... You may as well just repaint the whole house. Repaint the couches, repaint the carpet, paint it all bird poop white and green, because that's the only color your house is going to be anymore. So, you know, lock up your chimney. Double check that your chimney is secure and safe, because if a bunch of birds can get down it, you're in for a hard time. And finally, IKEA shoppers over in the UK. I love IKEA. I always love their house plants. They do a great job with their plants. Well, a couple in Britain bought a houseplant from IKEA, and they got it home. They were so excited about it. They went to place it where they were going to put their new little plant, when suddenly this little lizard popped out of nowhere. So it's a little gecko, apparently, and wildlife officials took a look at it. They're like, yeah, that's a non-native. It definitely came from a warmer climate, probably wherever that plant farm is overseas. So the gecko was one day just hanging out, having a good time on his plant. His plant gets yanked, put in a box, sent to an IKEA, and where it was sold to a couple of Brits. They were like, well, it's not warm enough in England for this lizard to survive in the wild, so they were able to capture him. I'm not sure if that means they're going to keep him as a pet or what, but that's the story that I'm going to go ahead and say because it makes me feel better. They caught the gecko and they're keeping him, and now he's basically the king of all geckos, and he's got a great home and lots of blueberries and stuff to eat. So good for him. Oh, so cute. Listen, I would be so jazzed. They called authorities. They got wildlife involved. If I got a lizard with my plant, I'd be like, score, free lizard. Are you serious? And Lord knows, I've got an animal container around here that would fit that free lizard. I am ready to go. I am always prepared for a free lizard situation. So cute. I want one. And that is the Morning Mews. All right, I think it's time, real quick, to plug our Patreon. Patreon.com/NightCatShow. I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir here at this point, but if you don't know, Patreon.com is an awesome resource for artists like me, people who are independent, who are trying to make our shows and get them up off the ground without any big money involved. Patreon is a great way to do that. You can pledge either $3 a month or $5 a month, whatever you feel comfortable with, and every month, right around the first of the month, those charges will come out. I take that money and I use it to invest in new equipment. I use it to buy caterpillars and pay my rent and other stuff. So it's very, very helpful for me. It is the best way that we can keep Nightcat on the air is through Patreon. If you have anything extra that you can donate, that would be great. I'm asking for 3 or 5. If you have more than that, awesome. I'm not going to say no. But if you can pledge anything, I always really appreciate it. Patreon.com/NightCatShow. And I want to quickly plug our podcast. Nightcat Radio is the podcast for all Nightcat related excursions, adventures, fun times. Nightcat Radio. I take the audio from every Morning Mews episode, like this one right here, as well as the Nightcap with Nightcat episodes, and I also have an episode that drops every Friday called Curiosity Killed Nightcat, where we talk about true crime and paranormal stuff. So there are 7 episodes a week. 7 20 to 30 minute episodes every week uploaded to the Nightcat Radio podcast, which is right here. The Nightcat Radio podcast. Go check it out. You're gonna love it. Find it on your favorite podcast directory. Give me a 5-star review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts as well. That would be very, very helpful. But the podcast has suddenly become bigger than the YouTube stream, and everything else that we do. So I know that there's a hunger for it. I know that a lot of people who listen to me on the radio might not be into YouTube, but they still want the content. It's all available on the Nightcat Radio podcast. Find it on your favorite podcast directory. You're gonna love it, I promise. I'm not just saying things. I'm not just spitting words at you. You're really gonna love it. All right, then I guess it's time for us to get into the book of useless information. This is a bathroom reader chock full of articles and fun facts, and I like to just read a few to you every now and then. This one is a list of animals that are poisonous, mostly poisonous so that they taste bad to any predators. And I thought, poison is interesting, animals are interesting, animal poison, double interesting. The poison dart frogs, native to Central and South America, originate from, poison dart frog, originates from South American tribes who smeared the poison from the skin of the frog onto their arrows or blowgun darts. So they were playing with heavy artillery, is what I'm saying. Just touching the skin of the golden poison dart frog species with your tongue can be fatal. As a general rule, just don't go licking frogs. I think one thing that I've learned throughout my years is don't go licking frogs. That's not a good idea. Evidence suggests that the toxin in the poison comes from the frog's diet, primarily ants, mites, and beetles, which contain these poisons but in much, much smaller doses. So the frogs are out there eating all these bugs that have these toxins in them, and then they basically store them up and use them for later so that they can excrete the poison and taste bad, or at least paralyze whoever's attacking them so they can get away. Fascinating little animals. All right, the platypus. I think that the platypi are some of the cutest little animals. Native to Australia and Tasmania, the platypus is one of the few species of mammals that lay eggs. It's also one of the very few venomous species of mammal. So the male platypus has a spur on his hind feet that delivers a poison that it won't actually kill an enemy, but it will cause a ton of pain. It's basically just a big ol' knockout punch. Just, ow! I hope you have fun writhing in pain for hours. Bye! And the reason they think only the males have it is because they use this poison to assert dominance against other males during mating season. So if you got two guys going after the same gal, they're all down at, the drive-in movie, they got a hamburger for 50 cents or whatever, and one little platypus kicks the other one with a poisonous kick, it's all over. He's gonna get that girl. Ladybugs! I didn't know this, but ladybugs... most people like ladybugs, but that's not the same. The same cannot be said, of predators who want to swallow them. Adult ladybugs are able to force themselves to bleed from their leg joints, releasing an oily yellow toxin with a strong repellent smell that's poisonous to small birds and lizards. So I've picked up probably hundreds of ladybugs in my life, and when I pick them up, I always see little yellow spots. I assumed they were peeing on me, which isn't better, but they were trying to poison me. That's what's happening there. If you ever pick it up and you get a yellow, oily little blip on your hand, that's the ladybug trying to poison you. Vicious little creatures. Now, if you accidentally swallow one, or if you get that poison on your hands, they say that you're going to have to ingest several hundred ladybugs before humans feel any negative effects. The poison is much more efficient with birds and lizards than it is with humans, so you're going to have to eat a lot more of them. But ladybugs are poisonous. Had no clue. Had absolutely no idea. And that is the book of useless information. Let's check in on the chat, see how everybody's doing. There we go. Good morning, Shelby, Desiree, Zizor, Kelby, Lindy, you beautiful person, you. Marissa, Katie, Nathan, hi, buddy. Doggone T, good morning to you. Lindy, I can't wait to see you on the murder tours. We're gonna have so much fun. I can't wait to share with you all the crazy stuff I've learned over the last couple of months. It's bonkers. Marissa, I'll see you tomorrow. How exciting. Yeah, Zizor, it's a good idea not to use your real name online, but the thing is, I was 21 when I started working in entertainment. I was 21 when I got onto Biggest Loser, and I just used my name on Biggest Loser because it was a reality show. And then when I got into radio, my first radio boss was like, do you want a radio name? Do you think you should have a radio name? And I go, yeah, do I need one? And he goes, well, yeah, I guess, because like most people usually have one to protect their anonymity or whatever. I was like, but people already know who I am. And he goes, that's true. And honestly, for branding, it's probably better that you just keep using the name you've always used. So I just used my first name. But also, I'm not afraid for anybody to find out what I say online. If you find out what I say online and I say some spicy stuff, I'll stand by it and I'll probably double down. I'll be like, yeah, I did say your grandma was a racist, and you know what? She's homophobic too! Oh, Shelby, I hope I wasn't too annoying with the whole Supreme Court case. I just think I don't know, man. I'm a real political nerd. I really am. I try not to bring political stuff to the show because I know that that's not everyone's cup of tea and it's really boring for a lot of people, but some stuff I just can't get enough of. I really can't. I think it's the most interesting stuff. Free speech is always so fascinating to me because our concept of free speech in this country is that what everyone assumes is that you can say whatever you want and you won't get in trouble for it. But free speech, all it protects is your ability to stay out of prison for saying whatever you want. You can absolutely say whatever you want and not go to prison or not get in trouble with the government, but that doesn't free you from the social consequences of it. So this whole case that they're trying in the Supreme Court, what they're trying to decide is whether or not, like, the government, which is the school, can get you in trouble for saying whatever you want. And I think it'll have long-term ramifications for free speech all around. But if you think we have absolute free speech in this country, you're crazy, because I worked in radio for 5 years. If I ever got caught saying the F word on air, if I ever accidentally slipped and said the F word and the FCC found out about it, my company could lose their license. I personally could face a huge fine. I mean, talking tens of thousands of dollars in fines for one slip up, one F word. And so no, I'm not free to say whatever I want. I can't say whatever I want without the government getting me in trouble when I'm at work. So yeah, guess what? We don't have freedom of speech in this country, and we need to protect what little we have whenever we can. You know what I mean? It's interesting, and it's a lot more complex than just, oh, we're free to say and do whatever we want, because you're not. You're absolutely not, and you should know what the limitations are, and if you're upset with the limitations, you should do something to fix it. Good morning, Loot Socks. How are you, dear? Good morning, Erica. Hi. Nisha. Oh, the birds. Listen, I love birds. I think they're fascinating creatures. I have an annual membership to the aviary, so I just walk over there all the time and check out all the birds. It's a blast. But like I've said in the past, I've worked with tons of animals, lizards, snakes that are like 18 feet long and weigh over 100 pounds. I've worked with gators, but crocodiles. The worst injury I ever got was from a bird. I got bit and my bite got infected because that bird had such a bad attitude. So I don't blame you, but I still think birds are really cool. Oh yeah, Zizor, it was straight up a scene from The Birds, all those birds rushing into that house. They actually, in the Inside Edition story that I was reading about it, they actually play a clip from The Birds in the article where they're just like, yeah, see, it's just like this. And you know what? It was just like that. All right. I think that's everything. We talked about the Morning Mews. We talked about the true crime tours. We went through the book of useless information, talked about animals that are poisonous. I think that is it for me. I just want to say thank you so much for continuing to support the show. There will be no Morning Announcements tomorrow. We've got the first true crime tour tonight. I'm going to be out late. And then I also have to spend all day tomorrow basically taking notes, figuring out what worked, what didn't work, because tonight's our first one. and try to readjust it and fix some stuff before Friday night's tour. If there's anything to fix, I genuinely think it's going to be great. I really do. I've practiced it. I've planned it out. I have my outline. I have my research done. But just in case there's stuff that we got to work out, I need to have tomorrow to be able to do that. And it's hard to do that when I got all the other stuff. But there will be a new episode of Curiosity Killed Nightcat on the Nightcat Radio podcast. So make sure you download the podcast if you're jonesing for another Nightcat fix. I will see you next week then, for sure. I'm going to turn it over to the fish. Have a great weekend. Bye. While you're checking out the fish, that would be a great time to head over and like this video. Go ahead and give me the thumbs up. Bless you. Thank you so much.